So Heavenly Father, as I do this first podcast of the year, Lord, I pray that you will be with me. Let me set the tone right. Let me set the tone of transparency and honesty right, so that this can be something that continues throughout the year. Thank you for getting me this far. And Lord, as I continue to journal, be with me, allow me to continue to be bold and brave with what I say and what I do. So be with me today, in Jesus' name I pray. Amen. Yo, what is going on, people? I know. It's been a while. It's been a while since the last time. In fact, it was 2022 and now it's 2023. And we're actually quite deep into 2023. It's nearly February, which isn't good because I obviously planned to be consistent with this journal of mine. Obviously, there's reasons as to why this is the case. But also, I think that taking time out is good when it needs to be. Whether it was needed, I don't know, but I think just how life happened and how things transpired, this is what it is. So, the last time I think I did Christmas message, I think it was a few days before Christmas. So obviously New Year happened, Christmas happened, family, friends, food, all that good stuff. I had my son up for a few days, more than a few days, which was interesting in itself. But also a great experience. I love when he's here. And then New Year's happened, and straight after New Year's, I had a work project that just took over my life really. For about 8-9 days, I was pretty much just in that space, and I think that covered. And then the recovery after that, just trying to get back on track with sleep and all that. That took out another Monday. And then last week, I actually planned to film, and I came to church to film, and I ended up doing some editing for some stuff for the service, the farewell service for the family, my bishop and his family, because yesterday was their last service with us at New Testament Church God the Rock. So my time just got caught up with editing that video. Then I ended up filming a video for the service as well. So just time just got away from me. It's not an excuse, because this needs to be something that is consistent, and I know that it's helping myself and also others. But it just I think the break that would have been feasible or forgivable would have been that Christmas, New Year's one, and then just coming out of the work project. But the other stuff is probably not excusable. So I apologize to my followers, those that have been following me, those that are quite loyal with their support. I apologize for that, and I will try my best to not do it again. So yeah, what's been going on with me? I think it's been a weird month, more than a month actually. I feel like I've come into 2023 quite content, which is peculiar, because oftentimes we go into New Year's and it's that point of reflection at the end of 2020, at the end of one year going into a new year, and there's often reasons to feel down. However, for me, going into 2023, it felt good, because I feel like there was a lot of growth in 2022. I think 2021 was my year of self-awareness and coming to knowledge of myself fully, flaws and all. And I think 2022 was the year where I was able to put it into practice, that knowledge. I was able to apply it to life. That doesn't mean I got it right all the time, which I didn't, but starting to make better decisions rather than negative decisions. So I think coming into 2023, I'm able to look at, all right, that's 1 year of just development, and now is an opportunity for another year of development in every area of my life. Work, relationships, career, I said work already, church, ministry, fatherhood, sonship, all those areas now is an opportunity for continued growth, and I think, you know, I'm looking forward to it. Of course, it's going to come with its challenges. Of course, it's going to come with the things are going to come with failures, you know. But I no longer look at failures like the end of the earth or the end of the world, but something to learn from. Failures are something I've learned from, and I will continue to learn from as much as the successes. So I'm just excited for this year. As I said, it started off pretty well. I had some really good news at the end of last year, so I was basically given an opportunity at work to step into a interim management role, you know, which is really good. I think the progression that I've had at work since starting has been quite quick. I don't want to say justified, but just the doors that are opening, the doors that have been opened from all those different opportunities at work. I'm just blessed, man. I'm really happy with where I am, and I'm happy that, you know, there's a workplace that actually see value and want to honor value as well. So just stepping into that space at the top of this year, with more opportunities to come after even that interim period. So I'm just really excited for what's going on there. You know, obviously church is a very interesting time now. Obviously, for those that don't know, so the pastor of my church, who's been here for like 20 years, is now moving on to another church in London. And yesterday was his final service, him and his family's final service. And even that, man, like, stepping out of the work project space, I had to basically step into another planning space with church, because we had a big weekend planned. And as you know, with anything, when you plan, a lot of things sometimes go wrong. So, you know, even though it was a success, like if you were to look at, we had a banquet on the Friday, which was awesome. It was fun. You know, I had to host with my ministerial colleague, Reverend Phil, and that was fun. You know, people don't usually trust me to host, because anything could come out of this mouth. But it was fun, and the night was fun. My bishop and his family had fun. You know, lots of food, dancing, jokes, you know, and everyone. It was nice to see everyone from like church just even more dressed up than usual. Man, them in their tuxes, women in their gowns, and all those kind of things. It was really just a really regal occasion. And then we had a big Sunday where we had 2 services, lots of tributes that had to be organised, obviously in secret. You know, and keeping secrets from Bishop is hard, but it worked, and you know, the family were really honoured. We thought it was very important that they were honoured as they left. A lot of the time, ministers aren't appreciated the way they should be. So we as a board at church, we made it our mission to make sure that the family left this church knowing that they were loved and that they were honoured and they were valued. You know, one thing I'm learning, even in this short time in ministry so far, it can be a really lonely space. And if you aren't valued, you know, not that you do it for value, you know, there's always that human part that feels away. But it's part of the call as well. You know, if you were to look at the Bible and the apostles, that man weren't getting no value, bro. That man were getting stoned and boiled in oil and all of that. So I always have that to kind of keep me grounded when it comes to this ministerial journey. But 100%, planning all that was a lot, but it was a success, and I'm glad that my bishop and his family are going to be able to leave the Rock knowing that they were loved and they were shown that love as well. Man, I didn't cry. There was a moment in the morning service where I had to introduce Bishop to preach. Man, my voice cracked twice, and in my brain I was like, if you fail me now, boy, we could have beef. But I didn't cry. I'm glad I didn't cry, because the tears still haven't come. You know, apart from the first day when he told the board at church and Pastors Council at church, you know, apart from that, they haven't cried. So I still don't think it's sank in. You know, yesterday after service, bare people were like hugging Bishop and the family, and there was pure tears. And I was just, at one point, I just sat in my seat for about 10 minutes, just staring into space, because it hasn't sunk in. It hasn't sunk in that these people that have seen me grow from, you know, a ministerial boy to where I am now, they won't be here anymore. I won't be able to just get some advice. Funnily enough, they're in the building right now. You know, I pulled up and then they pulled up, and I think they're just getting some of their stuff now, which is just weird. You know, seeing Bishop with boxes clearing the office, like what's that? What is that? So, man, it's gonna be weird, but you know, looking forward to Reverend Marcel coming. And for those of my church family that are worried, just, you know, God has got us, man. You know, transition is normal, change is key, for growth. So just be encouraged that, you know, we are now in a position where many of us can just step up and do more and be more. Yeah, so it's just been I think it's been a good start to the year. You know, I preached on live TV, which is an experience in itself. Those days were long, like being at this TV studio, to kind of bring people behind the scenes. You know, you had to rehearse once, then you had to do a full dress rehearsal, the whole show top to bottom, because they needed to record it just in case something went wrong during the live, and then you had to do it again during the live show at the end of the night. I'll drop a little thing in my description, so if people want to check it out, they can check it out. But yeah, I preached on live TV, and you know, the reception was great. I think people at home I had lots of encouraging messages from that, you know, just in terms of the delivery, the content, and of course, you know, God, it's all inspired by God, do you know what I mean? But I remember just being there, just thinking, you know what, if I'm going to do this, I'm going to be me, unapologetically. And I'm not the rah-rah preacher that people might like. I'm not the refined preacher as well. You know, I still make mistakes. I still trip over my words now and then. But, you know, I'm just me. And I'll use slang, I'll use colloquialisms, and however that goes down, it goes down. And, you know, at one point I was thinking, oh, I hope this passes the compliance test. Because the TV studios that we were using, they have like a team that look at compliance and making sure that, oh, everything's compliant with everything, you know. And there was one after the dress rehearsal, they came up to me, they were like, oh, there was one thing that you said that wasn't compliant, and I was like, oh Lord, what did I say? And then they told me what it was, and I was like, okay, cool, just change that. And then during the live show, I was just thinking, make sure you say the right thing, make sure you say the right thing. But then luckily it was pretty early on during the message, so I got it out of the way, and I was like, cool, let's go. But I'm just glad that people were really blessed by what I spoke about. And for those of you that have watched it, and those of you that hopefully will go back and watch it, you know, it really came from a place of a personal space, do you know what I mean? Funnily enough, that message came to me, I had the skeleton of that message from like last year, May. I remember preparing to preach at one church, and then that opportunity fell through because of some madness. And then I ended up, it kind of just fell perfectly into the theme that I was preaching at Declaration. And, you know, the message itself was very cognizant of the situation that I went through in May last year, where people were saying things, people were trying to bring up my past, people were trying to bring things up from like a long time ago, and then being not judged on it, but being told yes or no because of what someone's brought up about a past situation. And I remember in that time, I had to encourage myself with the word that I was given. I had to encourage myself to not cancel myself, that I'm not who I was. I am not who people might say I am, or who you know what I'm trying to say. I'm not even the Don that makes mistakes. Not that you don't own or not that you don't own the mistakes or you don't take responsibility for them, but you know, I'm not gonna hold myself to that standard, because am I not striving for a better standard? And I know I'm better than that, and I know I can soar. So, you know, that message came from a place of, yo, don't beat yourself up. Don't allow anyone else to make you have to beat yourself up either. Do you know what I mean? And I think, you know, so oftentimes we get caught up in that space of allowing external voices, even our internal voice, to just mute us, man. And that's not who we are, man. Believe who you are now. Believe what God says you are. You know what I mean? But I don't want to rant anymore. But yeah, it's just been a very good start to the year. I'm really looking forward to what this year has to hold. Like, I'm positive. Like, I'm genuinely positive. So there's two things that I want my listeners to hold me accountable to. One, you're not going to let me have a 6-week break again. Not going to let it happen. And two, what's the other thing I was going to make them hold me accountable to? That I start rehabbing my knee properly and putting some time into my fitness and getting back to health fully, because I feel like I neglected it. I was getting back into just before my surgery, and then since my surgery I kind of it was an excuse to just not be as active as I was, because my knee still isn't all the way better. But then again, I haven't been rehabbing it, so just hold me accountable to that, and then also make sure I don't take 6 weeks off again. This is going to be an amazing year, and I really believe this is a year where people that I know that have been struggling and striving, this is the year you're going to soar, man. I'm telling you, this is the year you're going to soar and see like wonders like never before. You're going to see doors open like never before, you know. Yeah, man, I really feel like for some of us that's what's going to happen. And you know, even if it doesn't happen, God is still good, but I really believe that God is going to happen this year. We're going to see just so much greatness around us. Massive shout out to my boy, my brethrens, who are building their families. You know, I don't know if I mentioned it, my brother had his son back in November, my nephew, and he's massive. Big unit, fam. It's going to be a big unit, and I can't wait. Do you know what I'm saying? And then my other boys are, you know, there's babies popping up, and there's marriages. Like, I'm going to 4 weddings this year. Like, last year was a drought, was a bit of a wedding drought, but I'm going to 4 weddings this year, man. I'm excited, you know, and I'm praying that some of that wedding dust will sprinkle on me. So guys, have a great week, man, and keep journaling. Peace.